MacGybo.
Hi, I'm MacGybo. This is my second video on giving away ships for new faction warfare pilots. First up, I'd like to do an update on the Atron video, which I put online last. Made a bit of a mistake. Yes, you can, as a brand new pilot, use everything that's on the ship that I'm giving out, but you can't use it all at once, and I'll show you what I mean. So what I've got here is a brand new pilot, as I made in that previous video, and this is one of the ships that I'm giving away, and somebody who I gave a ship to got in touch to say there's a bit of a problem, and you might have spotted it already. It's this gun up here, it's offline. If I try and put it online, it tells me what the problem is. Insufficient power. There's three things going on here. Two of them are to do with skills, and one of them is to do with the rig. Now there's two skills which are directly affecting your power grid when it comes to weapons. This one is power grid management, which is a skill which affects your power grid for everything. By training it up to 5, you'll get an additional 5% to the ship's power grid output. And that's 9 days. So is there a quicker way? Well, if you train up weapon upgrades to 4, you get advanced weapon upgrades. And what that does is reduce the power grid needs of weapon turrets and launchers by 2% per skill level. But to train that to 4 for an alpha pilot is another 4 days and 1 hour. That's not so good either. So what's the problem with the ship? Well, it's actually these rigs. These rigs increase the damage of the turrets, but at the expense of increased power grid need for hybrid weapons. So what can you do about that? Well, if you look at your skills, there's jury rigging. The skill is really cheap. Now if I buy and inject that and train that up to 3, it opens up the possibility for training other rigging skills. But what's the point of that? Well, if I look at the hybrid weapon rigging skill, it's a 10% reduction in the hybrid weapon rig drawbacks per level. Well, what does that mean? Well, in the case of these rigs, the drawback is an increased power grid need for each of the weapons, and that's the problem. It's increasing the amount of power grid that these 3 guns need. The combined total of that is I can only switch 2 of the guns on. So what I can do is buy the skill and unlock it, but that's still 18 hours. Well, let's do it anyway. There's something else I can do in the meantime. Now this is a pretty disposable ship, and this is what I'm going to do when I'm giving them out from now on. These rigs are the problem. I've got 2 identical ones. If I just destroy one, I can put that gun online. And if you've got one of these free ships and you want to get the 3 guns up and running, that's probably the best way around it. It's quite wasteful, but what I'll do going forward is only put 1 rig on each of these ships. So that's a little update to the previous video and a workaround for new pilots who've got those ships. So anyway, on to the 3 other ships for Amar Kaldari and Minmatar pilots. Now if you've created a brand new faction warfare character that is Amar Kaldari or Minmatar, then get in touch and I'll give you one of these ships. Before I get into it, I want to show you the greatest thing that CCP ever did for a pilot in Jita. If you grab the local chat here, you can move that over, hide it all. Isn't that fantastic? So the first ship I'm going to look at is the Punisher, which is for Amar pilots. So brand new, straight out the box pilot will be able to fly this. It's got 4 pulse lasers, Afterburner and a Scrambler. Now you've only got 2 mid slots on the Punisher. It's best to go for the Scrambler because that's got the dual purpose of shutting down the micro warp drive and stopping the pilot from being able to fly away. You've got a little tank with the steel plates, some resists, a heat sink, which is a mod which increases the damage of your lasers, and damage control, which offers resists across the board. The tank is extended by 3 Trimark armor pumps, which increase your armor. Not too bad. In your cargo hold, you get 4 multi-frequency and 4 standard frequency crystals, which are the charges for your lasers. Kaldari pilots, you get the Kestrel. 4 rocket launchers, 4 lovely mid slots to play with, so you've got your Afterburner, your medium shield extender, your web and your warp scrambler, and you've got damage control, again resists, and ballistic control system, which increases both your rate of fire and the damage from the missiles. Most of your tank is coming from EM shield resists and a thermal shield reinforcer as well, which along with the medium shield extender gives you a nice little tank. 4 different kinds of rockets to use. So you're going to be brawling here. You want to be staying just outside the range of hybrid blasters, and you can control the range of the fight using your web and your scram. With regards to the rockets, in very, very broad terms, you want to use Inferno against Amar pilots, Mjolnir against Kaldari pilots, Nova against Galente pilots, and Scourge against your Minmatar enemies. But that's very broad and really only applies to T1 ships. Final ship is the Slasher. 3 autocannons, and again we've got an Afterburner, the Scram, the Web, and a medium shield extender. But you're going more on a speed tank here. You've got an Overdrive injector system which makes you go faster, and damage control again. 2 shield rigs to help fill the holes in your resists, and a small ancillary current router which increases the power grid that's needed mostly to fit everything but this medium shield extender. Whack them all together and you got yourself a good little starter ship. When I did the first video I said I'm going to be moving these ships out to the 4 systems that have got the shipcaster gates in them, but the feedback I got is, can you supply them in Jita, because people aren't always going to the shipcaster systems when they begin their faction warfare journey. So that's what I'll do from now on. So if you want one of these ships and you've created a brand new faction warfare character, drop me a message in game and I'll contract you one over. And then if you lose that, send me the kill mail and I'll contract you over another 2. Just let me know which ship type you'd like. Make sure that your pilot is brand new and registered with the faction. I'm Magaibo, thanks for watching. See you again next time.